Whoa, what a week it's been in the World Storytelling Cafe. We've had tellers from America. We've had tellers telling Caribbean stories. We've had a teller from Mexico. Whoa. And next week, even better. Well, not even better, but just more variety. Finland, Italy, all over the British Isles. Whoa, fantastic. It's really a privilege to be involved with this. So I'm going to do a few stories. And the first I haven't told for a long while, but I keep saying this is one of my favourite stories. It's just that most stories are favourite. If you didn't like them, you wouldn't tell them. Because you don't just choose the stories choose you. And this one is from way back in time, beyond the 7 hills and the 7 rivers. And there was a king, and he had 2 children, Michael and Rosa. He loved those children. But he got a new queen, and well, he was good at ruling his country, was the king, but he wasn't so good at choosing queens. And one day he went into a room and he heard her making spells against the children. So he took his children and he put them in their own palace, surrounded by 7 hills, so the queen couldn't get to them. And he took his queen and he put her in a turret, in a tower on the coast next to the ocean. But one day a raven came to the queen. "What news, bird of ill omen? Good for some and bad for others, O woman of evil thoughts," said the raven. "For in the palace of the 7 hills, Michael and Rosa play happily. In that case, tell Michael I lay this enchantment upon him. He shall not drink from the same cup twice, and he shall not eat from the same plate twice, and he shall not sleep in the same bed twice, until he's been to the island of desolation and brought back the calf that makes incredible music, the calf of the red-mouthed cow." Well, the raven went to the Michael and said, "Look, Red Michael, you shall not sleep in the same bed twice, you shall not drink from the same cup twice, and you shall not eat from the same plate twice, until you have brought back the calf that makes incredible music, the calf of the red-mouthed cow." Well, Michael sent a message to his father, the king, and his king said, "Well, that's okay, I'm a king. You can have as many cups as you want. You can have as many plates as you want. I can have beds delivered every day." But, Michael said, "I can't live like this. I've got to find the calf that makes incredible music, the calf of the red-mouthed cow." And he set off on his journey. And he went to town squares. And he talked to old men who sit nattering on town squares, putting the world to rights. And they knew nothing. And he went in the forest and he spoke to wise women and hags. And they knew nothing. And after he'd walked for a long way, he came to a fine castle. He knocked on the door of the castle, and there was a beautiful girl. He said, yes, Michael. How do you know my name? She said, I know everything. He said, I know you're looking for the calf with the red-mouthed cow, the calf that makes incredible music. Will you go now, or will you have something to eat first? He said, I'll go now. In that case, she said, take this wand, make sure you bring it back, and go down to the edge of the lake, and there you'll find a log. Touch the log with the wand, it will turn into a boat. The boat will take you to an island. There you will see the calf running round and round, making beautiful music, running round its mother, the red-mouthed cow, and eventually the cow will go to sleep. When the cow's asleep, take the wand and touch the calf on the nose with it, and the calf will follow you into the boat, and you can bring it back. But make sure you bring me the wand back. And of course he promised, and he went down, and there was the log, and he touched it, and it turned into a boat, and he went to the island, and there was the calf running round and round its mother, the red-mouthed cow, and eventually the cow went to sleep. As the calf passed him, he touched it on the nose with his wand. Followed him into the boat. He went back. The boat turned back into a log. He took the wand, he gave it back to the girl. And he went back to his palace surrounded by 7 hills. And they lived happily. And the raven went back to the queen. What news, bird of ill omen? Good for some, bad for others, O woman of evil thoughts, said the raven. For at the palace surrounded by 7 hills, Michael and Rosa play happily, while the calf that makes incredible music, the calf with the red-mouthed cow, runs round and round, making music such as has never been heard in the whole history of this earth. In that case, tell Michael I lay this enchantment upon him. He shall not drink from the same cup twice, he shall not eat from the same plate twice, and he shall not sleep in the same bed twice, until he's been to the island of misery and brought me back the self-playing dulcimer that hangs on the ceiling of the castle surrounded by the 24 wolves. Well, of course, Michael knew exactly what to do when he got the message, and he went back to the castle. And you're back again, said the girl. Yes, he said. He said, well, I know you're looking for the island of misery. Will you go now, or will you have something? I'll go now, he said. In that case, take this wand. Go to the lakeside. There you'll find a log. Touch the log with the wand, it will turn into a boat. The boat will take you to the island where the 24 wolves live. Wait until it is dark. Tiptoe to the castle. Creep inside. Reach up and touch the self-playing dulcimer with the wand. It will fall into your hands. Run back to your boat, but make sure you do it before the first rays of light touch the roof of that castle, because only then will the wolves awake, and they'll chase you back to, and if they get you, they'll rip you to pieces, and there won't be so much as one tooth left. Well, it went exactly as the woman said, and the girl said, and he was on the island, and he waited till it was dark, and he crept to the castle. He reached up and he touched the self-playing dulcimer with his wand, and it dropped down into his hands, and he ran back to the boat, and just as he was nearly on the boat, the first rays of light touched the roof of the castle, and as Michael leapt to the boat, the wolves were in the water around him, howling, baying. There was saliva dripping from their mouths. And he took each one and he banged it on the nose with his wand. And they screamed and they ran back to the island. He went back and he gave the wand back to the girl, He went back to the castle surrounded, the palace surrounded by the 7 hills. And the raven went back to the queen. What news, bird of ill omen? Good for some, bad for others, O woman of evil thoughts. But the castle, the palace surrounded by the 7 hills, Michael and Rosa play happily. The calf that makes incredible music, the calf of the red-mouthed cow, runs round making music such as has never been heard in the whole history of this world. And the self-playing Dulcimer makes music such as never been heard in the whole history of the universe. In that case, tell Michael I lay this enchantment upon her. He shall not drink from the same cup twice, he shall not eat from the same plate twice, and he shall not sleep in the same bed twice until he has brought back she who is above all manner beautiful. Well, of course, Michael went back to the castle. And the girl opened the door. And she looked at him. And he looked at her. She said nothing. He said, I have to find she who is above all manner beautiful. She still said nothing. He thought, you helped me before. Why won't you help me now? And he walked away. And you know, he started to sulk. And you know, if men sulk, their bottom lips drag along the floor behind them. And he was walking along. And she waited till he'd gone a fair distance. And he said, Michael, Michael, can't you see what is in front of your very eyes? I am she who is above all manner beautiful. And if you want, I'll marry you. Well, you've never seen a bottom lip coming back so fast. It came back so fast it hit him straight in the face. And they ran into each other's arms. And of course they went back to the palace surrounded by the 7 hills. Meanwhile, the raven went back to the queen. What news, bird of ill omen? Good for some, bad for others, O woman of evil thoughts. But at the palace surrounded by the 7 hills, Michael and Rosa play happily. The calf that makes incredible music, the calf of the red-mouthed cow, is running round and round making music such as has never been heard in the whole history of the world. The self-playing Dulcimer is making music such as has never been heard in the whole history of the universe. And Michael is happily married to she who is above all manner of beautiful. Well, I tell you what, that queen, she didn't sulk. She got angry and angrier and angrier, and she kicked that parapet and the wall fell down and she fell head first and crashed onto the rocks below and was washed away in the sea. And as for the raven, he went back to the path of wickedness. Who was soundly told off for having failed. From that day on, all you hear from that raven is a squawk. Caw, caw. That is the story of Michael and Rosa. Well, you can hear people going by and they're out for their exercise. And I'm just thinking of stories. And well, I think I'll do a story. This is, and my musician friends say this sounds like this is a musician story because it sounds like an agent who says, "I'll only pay you if you do the next gig," and you do the next gig, and they say, "I'll only pay you if you do the gig after that." And it's a Greek story, and it's and there was a king. there's a few kings in the sets. In fact, I think I'll do this is a king set, and you know, brothers and sisters, and this got 3 brothers. The king was getting on, and he called his 3 sons to him. He said, here's a bag of gold each. Do as you will with it. Well, the oldest son, he loved his horses. He loved racing. And he thought, I'll buy a string of horses and I'll get fine saddles for them. And I'm going to have a wonderful time. And the second son, he loved his festivals. We loved parties. And he thought, you know, when we can all get together again, I'm going to have the biggest festival that anyone has ever seen. I'll invite everyone to it. I'll make them pay, so I still end up with some money at the end. And the youngest son said, I think what we ought to do, what I'm going to do, I'm going to buy something, I'm going to build something so everyone remembers our father. 2 older sons were devastated. His brothers were, that's my festival out the window, and that's my horses gone, because, you know, if we don't pitch in with that, you know, he'll give everything to our young brother. So they put all the gold together and they built a most beautiful church so everyone would remember their father. And it had beautiful stained glass windows, and had marble pillars, mosaic floors, a big spire, steeple. And the king was pleased with it. He went in, but as the king was looking, along came a little old man with long white hair, longer than mine, and a long white beard that nearly touched the ground. He said, it's a very nice church. It's got very nice stained glass windows, and it's fantastic marble pillars, and that mosaic floor are nothing to touch. But there is one thing missing, a golden nightingale to sing on the roof. So the king called his 3 sons to him. He said, I'm incredibly pleased. I couldn't be more pleased. But, you know, I love the stained glass windows. And I love the marble pillars and the mosaic floors. But there's one thing missing, a golden nightingale to sing on the roof. Well, the 3 brothers looked together and thought, well, if he wants a golden nightingale to sing on the roof, we'd better find him one. And they travelled on together until the road split up in 3 directions, and one was the road of no returning. And that the youngest brother took. And he walked for a long way till his feet were sore and his throat was dry, and he sat down by the fire, and he made a fire by the side of the road. And he was boiling up a little pot of coffee when along came a little old man with long white hair, longer than mine, and a beard that nearly touched the ground. And the boy said, would you like a cup of coffee? And the man said, I don't mind if I do. Sat down and they chatted and they talked the way that you do round a fire. And he said, where are you going? He said, I'm off to find a golden nightingale to sing on the roof of my father's church. And the old man said, well, you're going in the right direction. He said, what you've got to do is this, you've got to walk tomorrow until you come to the castle of the 40 ogres. And there'll be a woman in the garden, and she'll be hanging out the clothes, and you must run up to her and you must throw your arms around her and go, mother, 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 save me from my 40 brothers. And that's exactly what he did. The next day he got up and the old man had gone, packed up his things, he got on the road, walked and he walked and walked till he came to the castle of the 40 ogres, and there in the garden was a woman hanging out the clothes, and he ran up to her and he said, threw his arms around her and go, mother, 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 save me from my 40 brothers. Well, she took him inside, and well, before before she took him inside. You know it's like children, you know, and a lot of other people. You don't have to be a child to be told this, you know. You can't come in the house like that. And people brush you down. And she brushed him down, and she brushed him. He turned into a broom. She took the broom, she put it in the corner when she went inside, and that night in came the 40 ogres. Before you sit down for a meal, said Mother, I've got a question to ask you. What would you do if someone came to us and said they were your brother? Well, we'd treat him as family and we'd be nice to him, said the 40 ogres. In that case, when she took the broom, she brushed it down. It turned back into the boy. And the 40 ogres looked at him and said, welcome, brother, but what are you doing here? What do you want? And the boy looked up, and there on the shelf was a golden nightingale in a cage. He said, I've come for the golden nightingale. You can have it, said the 40 ogres, if you go to the 40 valiant youths and bring back the winged horse they stole from us. Well, off he went. He walked for a long way, and further still his feet were sore and his throat was dry, and he sat down by the road and he made a fire, and he was a pot of coffee brewing on the fire when along came a little old man, long white hair longer than mine, and a long white beard that nearly touched the ground. And the boy invited him to sit down. He poured him out a cup of coffee, and the man asked where he was going. He said, I'm off to see the castle of the 40 valiant youths. You're going in the right direction, said the man. Tomorrow, walk till you come to the castle of the 40 valiant youths. Like yesterday, there'll be a woman in the garden, hanging out the washing. Run up to her, throw your arms around her and go, mother, 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 save me from the 40 valiant youths. Save me from my brothers. Well, she took him and she rubbed him down. She rubbed him really hard this time. He turned into an apple. She put the apple in the middle of a fruit bowl on the table. In came the 40 valiant youths. 40 hands went out to grab for a piece of fruit. Get off, she said. You leap when I tell you. Before that, I've got a question for you. What would you do if someone ran up to me and called me mother? Well, we'd think he was our brother, they said, and we'd be kind to him. Well, she took the apple, she polished it, turned back into the boy. They were glad they hadn't had a bite out of it. What do you want? They said. Well, I've come for the winged horse, he said. You can have it, they said, if you bring back the princess 5 times fair. Well, next day he started on his journey. And he walked, and he came, his feet were sore and his throat was dry, and he sat down, he made a fire, and he brewed a cup of coffee, and along came a little old man with long white hair, longer than mine, nearly touched the floor, and a long white beard. And the boy invited him to sit down, he made him a cup of coffee. Where are you off to this time, said the man. He said, well, I'm off to get the princess 5 times fair. You can have her, said the old man. But I can't tell you where to go, but I'll give you this gift. I'll give you this gun. Whatever you point it at, it can't miss. Thank you, said. Well, the next day he's up on the journey, and he sees a vulture in front of him. He's about to put his gun to his shoulder and shoot it when the bird starts talking to him. Says, spare me, spare me, spare me. Take a feather from my wing, and when you're in trouble, call me, and I will come and help you. Well, of course, the boy spared the vulture and he flew away. He's walking along, he comes to a stream. He looked in the stream. There was a salmon, it was this big. No, it was this big. No, it was this. No, it was this big. He's about to put his gun to his shoulder and shoot it. When the salmon says, spare me, spare me, spare me. Take a scale from the skin of my back. And when you're in trouble, call me and I will come and help you. And of course, he let the salmon go and it swam off. He carried on around the road. There's a fox in front of him. He puts his gun to his shoulder. about to shoot the fox when the fox says, "Spare me, spare me, spare me. Take a hair from my tail, and when you are in trouble, call me, and I will come and help you." And of course he took a hair from the fox's tail and he let the fox go, trotted off. And he carried on till he came to a city. And that was the city of the Princess 5 Times Fair. And on round the parapet, they're all heads on spikes. And he was taken to the king, and the king said, "What do you want?" He said, "I've come for your daughter, the Princess 5 Times Fair. You can have her," said the king, "if you can hide from her for 3 hours. And you can have 3 goes." Well, he was blindfolded. The princess was blindfolded. And she started counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Off he slipped. He held up the vulture's tail. He said, "Vulture, vulture, help me, help me." And the vulture came down. He said, "Hide me behind a cloud." And he climbed on the vulture's back, and the vulture flew up and hid him behind the cloud. 48, 49, 50, coming to get you, ready or not, said the princess. And she looked here, and she looked there. She looked up, she looked down. She looked up again. And there was his ear sticking out from behind the cloud. "I can see you," she said. 2 goes left, said the king. "You know, and if you fail, I'm going to cut off your head and I'm going to put it on that one remaining spike." Well, the boy wasn't that worried. He still had 2 friends. And he still had 2 goes left. This time the princess was blindfolded. She started counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He ran down to the sea, and he took the scale of the salmon. He said, "Salmon, salmon, come and help me." And the salmon came. He said, "Quick, let me on your back and swim me down to the bottom of the sea and hide me behind a rock." And he got the salmon's back, and he flew down to the bottom of the sea and he hid behind a rock. 48, 49, 50, coming to get you, ready or not, said the princess. She ran down, she looked here, she looked there, she looked up, she looked down even further. And there, sticking out from behind a rock, at the bottom of the sea, was the boy's heel. "I can see you," she said. 1 go left, said the king. "And as soon as you fail there, it's off with your head." "Oh," said the boy, "we'll try." He's getting a bit worried now. This is his last chance. And he was confident to start off with, but, you know, he'd seen those heads on the way in, and he's feeling, you know, like he rather liked his head attached to his shoulders. But the princess was blindfolded. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He ran down, he got the fox's hair. He said, "Fox, fox, come and help me." And the fox came. He said, "Quick, fox, hide me in the middle of the earth." They went down a foxhole. 48, 49, 50, coming to get you, ready or not. And the princess opened her eyes. There in front of the princess was a fox doing a jig. Now, I don't care what else is happening, this story or jump or anything, but if you saw a fox, you'd actually doing a jig in the middle of the lawn. You know, you'd stop whatever else you were doing and you'd watch the fox. And the fox jigged and jigged, and then danced a reel, and he's doing acrobats, and he's doing handstands, and he's flipping, and he's doing backflips, all sorts of stuff. And when an hour and a half passed by, and then he ran up a tree and started swinging across the branches of a tree, doing flipping, like a heart. And then he ran down the branch to the very end of a branch, and he jumped, and nearly 3 hours, and he's just about there. For just about the last few seconds of that 3 hours have gone by, and 3 hours have gone. And he went down and he got the boy out of the foxhole. And of course, the boy had hidden from the girl for a whole 3 hours. And she was quite relieved, because she was a bit fed up with everyone who came to see her having their heads chopped off and being put on spike. But the king wasn't too happy, but his word was his word, and he let his daughter go, and he gave them a horse. They're riding off, and they're halfway back to the castle of the 40 valiant youths, and he said, I don't know how to break this to you, but it's a bit embarrassing this, but I've got to swap you for a winged horse. Hope you don't mind. She said, well, yeah, I do really. He said, don't worry, trust me. I'll give you to the 40 valiant youths. They'll give me a winged horse. You stand next to me and wave me goodbye. As I take off, I'm going to lean down, grab you by the arm, and throw you onto the back of the horse. It'll work. And believe it or not, it did. And they're flying through the air on the winged horse. And he said, oh, that's good, that's great. We've got a winged horse. He said, yeah, but it's not over yet. Which means it's not over yet. He said, well, we're going to get to the castle of the 40 ogres. And they're going to see you. And they're going to say, forget the winged horse. Give us the princess 5 times fair. But never mind. They're going to give me a golden nightingale in a cage. I'm going to sit on the horse. You're going to wave goodbye. It worked before, it'll work now. I'm going to grab you by the hand. I'm going to throw you on the back of the horse. But then he said, you've got no spare hands. He said, it's okay. I'm a great horseman. I was trained by my brothers. Well, she wasn't happy. There wasn't a lot she could do about it, but believe it or not, it worked again. And there it is. They're flying through the air. He's got the princess 5 times fair. He's got a winged horse, and he's got the golden nightingale in the cage. And he gets to that point where the road split up in 3 directions, and there his 2 brothers were waiting. Now, you know, in some families, if one brother's got everything and the others have got nothing, it's not good. And it wasn't with that family. He turned up with a winged horse, a princess 5 times fair, and a golden nightingale, and they had nothing. So they dug a big hole, and they threw him in the bottom of the hole. And they took the golden nightingale, and they took the princess 5 times fair, and they got on the winged horse. The winged horse refused to fly. They thought, never mind, we'll walk. And they ran, and they gave the father the golden nightingale, and of course he was going to let the oldest son, whatever she said, whether she didn't seem to have any say in this, gave the oldest son the princess's hand to marry. And there it was. Well, the service was going on, but the golden nightingale was refusing to sing, and the princess looked really miserable. And they just got that point in the service, where, would you take this man to be your lawful wedding? Crash! In came the winged horse with the boy on his back. And as soon as the boy was there, the youngest brother, the princess smiled. The birds started to sing, and the king realized what had happened. And he sent those brothers out, and they were never seen again. And they were lucky they weren't put in barrels of nails and throwing out to sea, I can tell you. And of course, the princess and the youngest son were married, and of course there was a great wedding, and there was masses to eat and even more to drink. And of course, had you been there, each and every one of you would have been invited. Right then, story ends. I've got to have a look at the time. Right. Oh, I can't even remember where I started. I'm going to finish on this story anyway. I was sitting in Texas. I was sitting in a storytelling circle. and we're all telling circus stories. And I knew exactly the story I was going to tell. And the story was a British story about how Jack beat the devil. But you know what it's like if you listen to other people, you're about to say something, you know a thing yesterday and you know a thing tomorrow, but when you ask the question, it's gone completely out of your head. And it was like that with this story. I got so wound up in other people's stories. I get that listening to this site. If you listen to all the stories on this site, sometimes I just let the stories wash over me. And I go to another land altogether. And it got to me, and I'd forgotten every word of the story I was going to tell. So I pulled another one, like Mossy Coat, out of my head, and I told that. And it got about 2 people further on. It said, I think it was Herman Nelson, poet, who said it, but I'm not sure. And he said, I'm going to tell you an Appalachian version of how Jack beat the devil. Well, I've never remembered the story I was going to tell, but I did remember the story I learned in that storytelling circle in Austin, in Texas. Well, Jack had grown up, and he was a bad man. He was a blacksmith. And he fought too much, and he swore too much, and he drank too much. But he didn't know how to treat a stranger. And one day there's a on his door, and he opened the door, and there was St. Peter himself. He says, come in, Pete. He says, have something to eat, have something to drink. Well, St. Peter ate and he drank his fill. When he finished, Jack, you're a bad man, but you do know how to treat a stranger. I'll give you 3 wishes. Guess the first. Well, Jack thought long and Jack thought hard, and after much thought and much consideration, he said, well, every night when I go home, there's a rocking chair on the porch in front of my cabin, and I just like to sit in that rocking chair and rock backwards and forwards and let the cares of the day fade away. But every day when I go home, there's someone sitting in my rocking chair. Make it, if anyone sits in my rocking chair, it rocks and rocks and rocks and rocks harder and harder and harder and harder, and doesn't let them out till I say so. Funny, I wish, said St. Peter, but that's what you want, that's what you get. Give us the second. Well, said Jack, you see that hammer over there? He said, whatever I'm doing, I need that hammer. If I'm making a horseshoe, I need the hammer. If I'm making an iron gate, I need the hammer. But every night, the children from the settlement break into my forge. And you won't believe this, but sometimes the children do not put tools back where they're supposed to. And I find that hammer on the road. I find it behind the forge, and I find it in the ditch. Make it, if anyone touches my hammer, it beats and beats and beats and beats, and they can't put it down until I say so. Stranger and stranger, thought St. Peter, but that's what you want, that's what you get. Give us the third. Oh, said Jack, it's really hard. Don't want to waste it. I know. See that thorn bush out there? I'm told if ever it gets a chance to bloom, it has beautiful yellow flowers on it. But every spring the hunt comes by, and those huntsmen, they think they own the earth, and they break off a twig from my thorn bush to beat their horses with. And it never gets a chance to bloom. Make it, if anyone touches my thorn bush, it grabs them and squeezes them harder and harder and harder and harder, and doesn't let them out till I say so. Well, that's the funniest wishes I've ever been asked for, said St. Peter, but that's what you want, that's what you get. Well, soon everyone in the district was sore one end, or they were sore the other, or they were picking thorns out from themselves. And be sure every night when Jack went home, there was his rocking chair waiting. Every morning when he came to work, there was this hammer just where it should be. And every spring there were beautiful yellow flowers on the thorn bush. But one day there's a little tap on the door, and in comes a little fella, no bigger than that. Horns sticking out of his head, tail sticking out of his back. He looked up at Jack and said, my dad said it's time for you to come. Not a problem, said Jack. You're going to have to come with me first. Got to fetch something. Well, Jack and the little devil set off. When they come to his cabin, Jack pointed to the rocking chair and said, "You sitting there, boy." He said, "I'll be out in a minute." The little devil sat in the rocking chair, rocked and rocked harder and harder and harder. "Let me out, let me out, let me out, let me out, let me out. Tell your dad not to send you for me again." Well, the little devil went back downstairs. Well, he had a brother, 16 years old, knew the lot. Nice shiny horns, Adidas stamped down each horn, long tail, 3 stripes down it. He says, "Send me, Dad, it's no good sending that squirt of a brother, I'll sort you out." Well, he walks in, he doesn't even knock. He goes, "Here, you, Jack, yeah, you, blacksmith fella. You come in with me. Me dad wants you." "Not a problem," said Jack. "I've got to finish this job." He said, "Pass me that hammer." The boing, the boing, the boing, the boing, the boing. "Let me down, let me down." "Tell your dad not to send you for me again." Well, he went back downstairs. Now, you know what it's like. If you promise to do something for your parents and you failed, you don't want to see them. You know, and parents are weird, aren't they? You know. You want to see them, they're never there. You don't want to see them, they're right there in your face. And he'd hardly be sat down when the big fella's there. Long pointy black beard, 1 hoof on the end of his leg, cloven, long tail, red-faced, horns, whole business. He said, "Where's Jack?" He said, "What was this hammer, Dad?" He said, "I knew it's no good to send a boy to do a man's job, I'll go and get him myself." Well, off he went. He's polite enough, he knocks on the door. He said, "Jack, you're coming with me. And I don't want to hear any nonsense about rocking chairs, and I don't want to hear about hammers." "Not a problem," said Jack. "You're going to have to fight me first." But the old devil likes to fight, and Jack liked one more. You could tell he had so many fights, his nose was sitting on his cheek and half his teeth were missing. They stepped outside, and it was a fight like you've never seen. If it had gone off in a city centre on a Saturday night, the constables wouldn't have been trying to stop it. They'd have been selling tickets to watch. And it went on for 7 whole days. And at the end of 7 days, Jack's nose that had started on this cheek was sitting on this. And those teeth that had been in his head were laying on the ground. And the devil thinks he's got him. And the devil jumps at him. And Jack steps sideways and the devil lands straight in the thorn bush. Thornbush grabs him, squeezes him harder and harder, harder. "Let me out, let me out, let me out," said Dole. "Let you out? Okay, I never want to see you again," said Jack. "See you, I never want to see me. I never want to see you," said the devil. And he was let go. And Jack lived a good long life, but apparently, poor old boy eventually passed away. And he'd get up to the gates of heaven. And there was the big book in front of St. Peter. All this good stuff written on one side, all the bad stuff written on the other. Good stuff fed me once. Bad stuff, page after page after page. Jack was looking over his shoulder. He said, "Look, I can't go and live. Can I just pop in for a look?" No, it's more than my job's worth," said St. Peter. "You have to go downstairs." "Not a problem," said Jack. "I've worked it all myself." He went down there and he's walking up to the gates themselves. And there's the little devils. "Dad, look who's coming." Oh, devil come up. He said, "You're not coming in here," he says, and he starts chaining up the gates. And Jack said, "What do you mean? I can't get in at the top and I can't get in at the bottom. What am I supposed to do?" The devil looked at Jack. He said, "I suggest you walk around the salt marshes of Suffolk for eternity," he said, "but I can't let you go with nothing." And he gave him a pumpkin. And he gave him a shovel full of hot coals. And if you look out the marshes at nights, sometimes you'll see lights. And some people call them will-o'-the-wisps. And some people call them jack-o'-lanterns. But I think by now you know which of the two it is. Well, I think that's my stories for the day. But there's many more to come this week. From many different tellers, and it's been a real privilege talking to you. If you liked it, please feel free to drop a groat or two into that hat below there. You know, if you're on the website. worldstorytellingcafe.com, or in any of the other tellers' hats. Meanwhile, bye-bye. Enjoy the stories.
Hello, and thanks for tuning in to these stories here at World Storytelling Cafe. If you've been enjoying the stories, why don't you follow the link below to the storyteller that you've just listened to? There, you'll be able to put some coins in their hat. It doesn't have to be much, any little amount helps. Thanks again. Bye-bye.